Welcome to ColeSoft's cXDC class. My name is David Cole. I am President of ColeSoft Marketing and Chief Architect for cXDC. In this segment, we will discuss the JCL changes needed for creating Dwarf Data at compile time. This class will be guided by this presentation, but when conducted by a live instructor, he will be adding his own insights throughout. Let's get started.
cXDC can be used to debug XLC, C++, and Metal C programs. But in all cases, it needs to have access to two things. First, your program's source code files, all of them. And second, something called Dwarf.
Dwarf data can be created by the XLC compilation process, both for C, C++, and Metal C programs. It contains data that is essential for cXDC to use.
This includes the location of all source code datasets, mapping information about what machine code arose from what source code statements, and type, location, and other information about all C variables used by the program.
Dwarf data is an optional output file produced by the XLC, C++, and Metal C compilation process. In ZOS, it is a simple fixed block 80 sequential file or PDS member. For XLC and C++, it is created by the compiler itself. But for Metal C, Dwarf data is created by the post-processing assembler program. In USS, it is created when the -G switch is used on the XLC command. For XLC and C++, you need to change the compiler JCL so that it will produce the Dwarf file. First, add debug to the parm field or compiler options. Ensure that format Dwarf is implied or specified. cXDC does not support format ISD. No other options are required. No other options are incompatible. Then add a sysc debug DD card for receiving the Dwarf output data. The record format must be fixed and the record length must be 80. The output file will, of course, be sequential. You may specify either a sequential dataset or an explicit member of a partition dataset. Or if you leave the member name off, then the sysin file must be a PDS member, and the sysc debug output will be written to a member having the same name. For Metal C, the JCL is a little more complicated. For one thing, the compilation requires two steps: a C compiler step, then a post-processing assembly step that runs a special variation of the assembler named CDA Helasm. The Dwarf data is produced by the CDA Helasm step, not the C compilation step. In the C compilation step, add debug to the parm field or compiler options. This will cause the XLC compiler to build and pass Dwarf data to the post-processing assembler via the object output file. Note, a csys debug file is not needed. In the CDA Helasm step, add A data to the parm field or assembly options file. This causes CDA Helasm to produce both A data and Dwarf data. Then add a sys A data DD card to receive the A data, but it can be a dummy file since cXDC does not use this A data. Also add a sysdwarf DD card to receive the Dwarf data. It needs to be a sequential fixed block 80 file or PDS member. Finally, add a temporary sysut8 work file. CDA Helasm won't build Dwarf data without it. When compiling your C, C++, or Metal C program under Unix System Services, use the -G switch to tell the compiler to generate Dwarf data. The data will be written to the same path and file name, but with a .dbg extension. For XLC and C++, when Dwarf data is generated, the compiler hardcodes the Dwarf file's dataset name into the object file. Then the binder propagates that information into the program object. So the Dwarf file's name becomes hard-coded in the program object. Further, the C source file names also become hard-coded into the Dwarf data. Note, if you compile on Unix, the path and file names are saved instead. Now, while the Dwarf dataset name is saved for XLC and C++ programs, it is not saved for Metal C code. That's because saving such information requires the presence of the language environment runtime. But the very essence of Metal C is the complete absence of the LE runtime. So in order to support Metal C, cXDC needs to have mechanisms that allow the user to provide the Dwarf file name when it is not otherwise available. cXDC has two such mechanisms: the library lists command and the dwarflib operand on the map command. These will be described in detail in a later video. Generally, when using XLC or C++, the Dwarf and source file names will be automatically available to cXDC. However, there are situations in which either the names are not available or the available names are not actually usable. Number 1, when you are using Metal C, but we've already covered that. Number 2, when you have renamed the Dwarf or source file. Number 3, when you have moved the Dwarf or source file to a different library or folder. Number 4, when the C source file is spooled by JES, or in plainer English, when it is from a sysindd star. And finally, when the C source file is from a temporary dataset, from an AND temp name or some such. This can happen when the C source file is generated by a precompiler, such as could be the case for DB2 programs containing embedded SQL. In such cases, the modified source needs to be passed to the C compiler in a non-temporary dataset, so that it will still be around when cXDC needs it at runtime. Okay, so much for creating and managing Dwarf data and source files. The next PowerPoint will be about starting a debugging session. Finally, here are a few links to remember. ColeSoft.com is where you can go to get general information about both zXDC and cXDC, and to find out what our friends think about our products.
You can also download products and start trials. You can also download maintenance and temporary licensing keys. And you can reach out to our sales team. XDC.com is the front door for a forum we have on LinkedIn where you can ask questions, get tips, and learn about the latest news and maintenance. If you join this forum, you will receive push notifications about maintenance and new developments. We have a number of training videos on YouTube for both zXDC and cXDC. And we keep a Facebook presence for less businessy information about ColeSoft and its people. When you need technical support, you can reach us both by the forum and by email and by phone. You will find our people to be both quick and knowledgeable and accommodating. Thank you.